Hey everyone, welcome back to the VWIDTalk podcast. We are Wes and Jan, and we're so glad that you're here. If you're passionate about Volkswagen or just EVs, make sure to hit that subscribe button now. And don't forget, you can catch us on your favorite podcast platforms like Spotify, Apple Podcast, or Overdrive. And of course, here on YouTube for a more visual experience. Jan, if you were going to say what is the most frustrating, most often complained about thing with the ID.4, what would you say those things are? I think I can think of maybe two or three of top ones.
Well, I think it's that the most confusing one is that it's electric, right? No, you cannot put
Yeah,
a gas into
because
it.
who would buy an electric car?
Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, I'm sorry. I missed that. No, I
Yeah.
think the two most bothersome things are the touch buttons, and especially the ones on the steering wheel. And I know
Yes.
you've been very passionate about that, and I'm
Yes.
also passionate about those other buttons in
Yes.
for Windows. So we have only two window switches. That's
Yes.
um,
And those things are complained about so often by journalists. And I hate them both so much. I love my car, but I think it's a toss up. I could go either way. Um, so Jan and I each took one of these topics, and Jan did the harder one. I took a lot of research on mine, but we were able to mostly successfully put real steering wheel buttons onto our ID.4's. And we're going to do a deeper dive into that later. Today, we're going to give you a brief overview of what we've done just to get people excited about it, and then we can show you more about it. But you can see on your left there before, which is your normal ID.4 with capacitive touch buttons. And on the right is after, and that is my ID.4 with real push buttons from a VW Atlas. And they work. So that's pretty exciting. Um, and I've already had many happy drives with it where there was less cursing because I had these buttons, and it was a pretty good thing. So
and and I must say I did the same because thank you for sending me those buttons. So I did the same
oh yeah,
thing a couple days ago, and I had a couple drives with these buttons, and I was so amazed that I can change volume without looking at the switch because it's just muscle memory. I know where to go, and I can very quickly change volume without looking. The same for skipping tracks or maybe changing the distance in the car in the front of
yeah.
me. So it's really amazing.
Well, first of all, I guess why real steering wheel buttons? Most of you, if you're reading this and you don't have an ID.4, maybe you don't know the frustration. A lot of auto journalists have been on and on and on about mainly the window switches. I thought the capacitive buttons were something that I would just get used to and it would be okay. Um, and they mostly were, except when they weren't, which is when I'm driving and turning the steering wheel and my finger would just brush the capacitive button and my radio station would change. Um, and I swore this was happening sometimes when I didn't brush it. And finally I confirmed it. Sometimes just the capacitance of me moving my hands along the steering wheel would change the radio stations. And at least on two occasions, I accidentally activated the cruise control and the car started accelerating, which is dangerous. So the main reasons though is the first one I just said, no accidental changing of your audio tracks or activating your cruise control. The second one is what Jan just mentioned. You can use your buttons by feel instead of looking away from the road. Once you learn where they are, the volume controls your most often, and that's you can feel it. You don't have to look. And then finally, you get better tactile feedback when you have pushed the button. You feel it press in. You know it's accepted because the haptic motors, yeah, a nice satisfying click. Oh yeah, listen, I mean, so great. Sometimes you can't always feel the haptic feedback on the capacitive touch buttons. So yeah, I think those are the basic things. I didn't feel like they bothered me that much, but they did. So we're going to go on to the Jan retrofit process here. And that is it mechanically feasible? Okay. Is it electrically feasible? And what kind of coding or adaptation is required? So this is a little chart that Jan put together. And as far as mechanical feasibility, it is a direct fit. No modifications required. You just need you need a new trim piece and you need the buttons. You screw the two things together and they literally slide right in. Electrical feasibility is also perfectly easy. It uses the existing wires. You unplug your old ones and plug your new ones in. And adaptations are easy. There's only a few things you can change. But actually doing the whole project is difficult. And the main reason for that is that you have to remove your airbag. And that is not something we're going to show you how to do here. If you don't know how to do it, you should have a professional do it, because our warning down here says if you cause your airbag to blow, you could seriously injure yourself, particularly if your face is right up against the right near the airbag. And if you're lucky enough not to injure yourself, it would cost you a lot of money to replace it. They are not inexpensive. So make sure you know what you're doing if you're going to do that. The other thing is, we have this mostly working. This is still a work in progress. We got some things to tweak, but the old buttons communicate via the LIN bus. The new capacitive touch buttons communicate via CAN. I have so far, with Jan's help, not been able to locate a set of buttons that communicate, that are push buttons that communicate over CAN. And so when you connect up the wiring harness from your steering wheel and those two CAN pins are active, it causes your horn to sound constantly, which is not good. So you can't have that. So we had to modify that and remove the CAN pins. And hopefully that is something we can find a workaround in the future. So leave us a comment if you know of a set of these physical push buttons that actually communicate over CAN. They would be from a newer model. We were exploring, they look like this. We were exploring the new 2025 Tiguan. The new GTI has push buttons. The new Golf R does not. It has the capacitive touch buttons. And Volkswagen said that's because they couldn't get the R button programming to work with the push buttons for some reason. So the new Golf GTI, the new Tiguan, they all have push buttons.
So what I would say that we also are linking down below the link to the VWIDTalk discussion about this specific topic, and we will be posting updates as we learn. So feel free to post down in comments if you know the workarounds or solutions, or help us move faster, please.
Gotcha. All right. So this can be done. That's the good news, and it works, and it makes me very happy. So the next thing is we're going to get onto a video of me showing you how to pull off this trim.
Because the buttons have a different shape than what you are doing. You're removing the silver trim, because the physical buttons, the new buttons that you retrofitted, they have a different shape of a trim, but it perfectly fits into the steering wheel.
Exactly. So you can't just replace the buttons. You have to replace the buttons and the silver trim. And you can see we're missing that little black piece of trim on the bottom there, which you'll see in a minute. You do not have to remove your steering wheel from your car. I just did that so I could show it better in this video. You just need to apply firm and even pressure. I started with the bottom because those pieces are thicker, and I used a little trim removal tool. You see that black plastic thing in my hand to kind of gently pry it up, and just slow, steady pressure. We've got the video sped up here. You don't want to break it, so you can resell it if you need to, or you can put it back to factory state. That is the one from the Atlas right there. And you see how it's got those spaces on the bottom of each side for the volume and the track change, and the black trim in the bottom. But all those little pylons I'm showing you are exactly in the same place. And this just, if you pretend the buttons are in there, you just line it up and just put your hands on it and put even pressure, and it pops right in. So the physical part of it's really easy. The last thing we want to show you is also, there is a tiny, probably 30 gauge wire in there.
Oh, it's right here. It's this one.
Yeah. It is very, very small. And I believe that measures the capacitance of the steering wheel, so it can tell if your hands are on it or not. That would be very easy to break. Please be careful.
Yes, and it is embedded into the steering wheel. So if that wire breaks, you have to replace the entire steering wheel. So that would be sad. Yeah. And also this wire fits right into the buttons, connects into the new buttons from the back. So make sure before you press it. That happened to me a couple times. When I pressed in the buttons, I of course forgotten to reconnect the wire. So I had to remove the trim again. So don't make that mistake.
Okay, so this is very, very doable. It's a very satisfying mod. You can tell how happy I am about it. Jan's done his now. He's very happy. I think it improves the usability quite a bit, and it looks completely stock. It looks like it came from the factory that way, which is kind of one of our creeds here. It is not prohibitively expensive. You pay it's a few $100s worth of parts. If we put together a kit, it might be $300 or $400, but it's not super, super expensive. It's definitely doable. It is mechanically and electrically compatible with only small modifications and the easy software adaptations. The only downside is it requires the airbag removal and some care when you do this. So, pretty excited about this. We're going to dig deeper into it. We're still a little bit of a work in progress, but follow us on the forum on this discussion, and we'll tell you more about how this went.
100%. And please subscribe to our channel so you will also learn about the next mod, which is replacing these 2 window switches with real 4 window switches.
4 window? Wait, no.
Yes.
Can't do that.
But that's in the next episode.
All right.
All right.
Well, we will patiently wait for that episode.
Thank you so much for tuning in. Follow us on VWIDTalk, as Wes mentioned, and also check the direct link to the discussion on VWIDTalk about this specific mod. So you can chime in with your research, with your ideas, with your questions, and we can together work on this faster. Thank you so much. Bye.
Thanks.